Microsoft is being a piece of shit to threat researchers, and it's honestly probably going to cause their downfall if they don't correct course. What's up? This is the Don and Don Show. I'm Don, and
I'm done.
yep, and let's just get straight into it. Reporting 21st June 2026, Microsoft versus threat researchers. One guy's beef with Microsoft just forced the biggest Patch Tuesday release ever. And for those of you who don't know, Patch Tuesday, every second Tuesday of the month, Microsoft releases patches to vulnerabilities and bugs and whatever. It's just what they do. So this is the story of a guy called Nightmare Eclipse. And we're also going to talk a tad bit about AI, of course. Hate to do it, but we got to. And then what Microsoft is doing for its reputation and how this is going to affect the tech community. Don, are you ready?
Man, you already know I am. So what's going on with this guy? What's going on with Microsoft? And tell us all about it.
All right, cool. So a little bit of background about Microsoft. It has a history of mistreating security researchers. So when you find a vulnerability as an independent security researcher, you're basically looking for bugs, looking for ways to exploit a system. You find it, you're supposed to responsibly disclose that to the company, any company, and they're supposed to pay you for finding that vulnerability. However, Microsoft has this reputation of not paying people.
Now, see, I've heard these bounty hunter programs or really bug hunter programs, whatever you want to really call them. Does Microsoft even have one set up for that?
Yeah, of course they do. It's
Okay.
called the Microsoft Security Response Team, I think. If you Google that, whatever the real name of it will show up. But they do have a specific site just for reporting bugs and vulnerabilities. All right, so this is a little bit of history back from 2018. This was one of the more well-documented case studies I could find. This guy named Matt, he sends in a vulnerability to Microsoft, and then Microsoft sends them this email back. The severity of the issue was reviewed, determined to be below the bar, closing the case, right? Then this guy posts a blog related to what he found. It says after he posted his blog, he was contacted by another researcher that informed me that it was more severe than anticipated. And then after a lot of email back and forth, apparently it does qualify. And this guy ended up getting paid $15,000 and getting a CVE named after him or in his name. So that's good for you as a bug bounty hunter. Improves your resume, clout, whatever. So basically, if this guy didn't post a blog, would he even have gotten credit? Now we get to our main character. And if you guys have seen this face right here, you know how big this story is. Chaotic Eclipse, Nightmare Eclipse, whatever you want to call him, anonymous researcher using multiple aliases claims Microsoft left me homeless. Suspected by some to be a former Microsoft employee. This is because they seem to know so much about Windows internals that it would be really hard not to. Windows is a really hard operating system to learn because a lot of their systems are just so old and don't make sense, and some of them were proprietary and they're just legacy, but a lot of, yeah, publicly released a series of Windows 0 days. We're going to get into that and force Microsoft into repeated emergency patching efforts. Don, do you know if this is from like an anime?
Not to my knowledge, not so far. No.
Okay, okay.
I've been assessing the M's the entire time. Very interesting that this is attached to this person.
Yeah, this is like their profile pic on everything. All right. So stage one of the story, Blue Hammer. This is the message he had to Microsoft. I'm just really wondering what the math was behind their decision. Like, you knew this was going to happen and you still did whatever you did. Are they serious? Basically, he tried to report this and Microsoft was like, no, this is not a vulnerability. We're not going to pay you. So he releases it publicly on GitHub. And then people find out this is actually successfully exploitable. So this is legitimate. Microsoft should have paid him. And now the entire internet has access to Blue Hammer, which basically is a Defender 0 day. So Microsoft Defender is the built-in antivirus Windows. And basically you could bypass Defender almost completely by getting it to pause at a specific time. It's called a race condition. And then I don't exactly know. You guys could look into the details if you really want. Stage two, The next month, Microsoft releases a patch for Bluehammer, and then immediately Red Sun is deployed, which Chaotic Eclipse drops another Defender 0-day. This is another one targeting Microsoft Defender, and it also works. All right. Stage 4, another month. Windows patch the other ones, and then we see Yellow Key. Now, this one sparked the most controversy and attention. So basically, BitLocker is what encrypts your data at rest on a Windows machine. If your laptop were to get stolen and a malicious person stole your hard drive, they can't access what's on there because by default, it's encrypted. You need a key. You need a password to the BitLocker to unlock the drive. However, Chaotic Eclipse found out that if you take a USB drive, you name a specific folder on there, you could plug it in and basically just get shell access to the whole thing, meaning access to everything on the BitLocker just by a conveniently named file path on a USB stick. So anyone could do this super easily. And this led a lot of controversy online because people are saying is that Microsoft potentially had a deal with police or law enforcement, FBI, CIA, whatever, to where it was an intentional backdoor. If the CIA or FBI or police got their hands on a drive that was Microsoft, they could look at anything on the drive, regardless of if BitLocker was turned on or not. So he tried to publicly, he tried to go the responsible route again, got denied, posted it publicly online. And this is where shit started to get real. This is
No, actually, no, hold on. Before you say the next part, I know you skipped over something. They got banned from GitHub and GitLab. Was this in direct response to all three of these?
Great point. Great point. And thank you for seeing that. Honestly, that bullet point should have gone 2 slides forward. But so let's continue and I'll get to that. Green plasma and mini plasma came next. Just zero days are hard to find, guys. Like, this isn't normal for somebody to be able to drop a 0-day 6 weeks in a row immediately after Patch Tuesday. It's just incredible. And this guy has so much knowledge of Windows internals and maybe was holding on to these for a long time, trying to do the right thing and responsibly disclose this. So here we go. This is when Microsoft threatens legal action and when he gets banned off of GitHub. Oh, yeah. You like my memes? So let's take a look at some of the tabs that I got open. This was that case, if you wanted to look at it from 2018. We already saw that. This is actually a video of Bluehammer being used, if you want to go back. I don't know why this guy's admin, right? But you could do this as any user. Who am I? Admin. He runs this XE, funnyapp.exe, and it's looking for Windows Defender and is basically updating Windows Defender. And then it's pausing something, downloading something, and then restarting Windows Defender. So it opens a bunch of tabs, a bunch of conhost, which is basically like how Windows protects its console from malicious behavior. And look at this last one. Who am I? NT authority /system. So, and this works from any account. System level privileges just by running an XE on a fully patched system is the key to that. So these are huge, huge deals. So this is what Microsoft came out and said publicly. The vulnerabilities, named them Red Sun, Undefend, Bluehammer, Yellow Key, Green Plasma, Mini Plasma, were not responsibly disclosed. We remain firmly opposed to these actions. Blah, 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 blah. Our digital crimes unit will continue bringing cases against these actors and those that enable their criminal activity, coordinating as needed with law enforcement around the world. People don't like it. The community reacts extremely negatively, and Microsoft kind of backpedals a little bit, realizing they don't really have any legal. We still have the First Amendment when it comes to speech online. That's still a thing. All right, so now we get to June 10th. And this is what made me want to go over this story now. the largest patch Tuesday in company history. Over 200 vulnerabilities were fixed in this patch. And if you count vulnerabilities in Microsoft related products like Chromium for their browser, then the number skyrockets to even more. And a lot of these were very serious. And it includes yellow key, green plasma, and mini plasma. So this guy tried to disclose something. Microsoft said it wasn't a vulnerability. This guy posted it publicly. And yet, even though it wasn't a vulnerability in Microsoft's eyes, they released them as CVEs and patched them in the next patch Tuesday. So there's a huge contradiction in what Microsoft is saying versus what they're doing. And this patch Tuesday was huge, and it caused a lot of issues for people downloading the patch. Obviously, you have to download the patch because there's these huge 0 days that are out there now. But it's really causing a lot of issues specifically. And I wanted to snippet this, but this whole article just has so much stuff in it. So this is an article from the nextweb.com. More serious problems have surfaced alongside the recycling bin bugs. So there's a lot of bugs. There's a lot of bugs that go on, and apparently it's a lot more than normal. Scale of the breakage has reignited a recurring debate about whether AI generated code is degrading Windows quality. And here's where we get to AI. And there's another part that talks about AI. Meta and Microsoft announced workforce reductions on the same day, April 23rd, affecting 23,000 positions combined. Meta is cutting 8,000 jobs, 10% of their entire staff, and canceling 6,000 open roles, while Microsoft launched its first ever voluntary retirement program, offering buyouts up to 8,750 U.S. employees. Get this, age plus years of service equals 70. So they're disproportionately targeting older people, not only people who have been with the company longer, but older people. So if you've been with the company longer, you think they would want to fire you less. But that's not the case. If you've been with the company for a while, or you're just really old, Microsoft wants to get rid of you. And they're going to spend the money that they save on AI. So this patch Tuesday was a huge deal. And partially because AI is finding so many vulnerabilities in old software, partially because this guy, Nightmare Eclipse. Yeah, here we just talked about AI is just, it could possibly be causing the degradation in the Microsoft software that is causing these issues and these bugs in the first place.
This actually brings me back to reminds me about Microsoft's troubles, bro. Dude, Microsoft is just bleeding money left and right. Obviously, Microsoft has huge loads of reserves of cash, but it's just every division you can hear, especially from these major companies. But this is just a major fuck you to Microsoft, dude. Like just the way that they're trying to treat some of these researchers. But go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. It seems like every company nowadays is just AI, 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 forgetting where they came from, forgetting that employees built the company from the ground up, and forgetting to treat their security researchers with respect. And that if these security researchers wanted to and sell these things, but they're not. And it's actually more responsible, in my opinion, to release it publicly than to hold on to it. Because if you found it, the dark web has found it by now. Let's not kid ourselves. These cyber criminals, the actual cyber criminals, are the ones who are stealing your grandma's money and stealing your money and turning your computers into botnets, like stealing your data and selling it to scammers. This stuff is happening in the dark web from real cyber criminals, and being able to post it publicly online for everyone to see, it at least allows offenders who want to fix this a chance to do it, even if Microsoft isn't going to admit it. So I don't know what Microsoft is thinking about doing, but it's not going well. So now we get to stage 7, which is
Yeah, yeah.
the the day of the largest patch Tuesday.
Okay.
Immediately after all systems are patched, Chaotic Eclipse, Nightmare Eclipse, he releases Rogue Planet, another 0 day, the 7th one in a row for the 7th week in a row. Privilege escalation. Now we ask, what does this mean for the community? Yeah, let's hear some thoughts.
I think that we pretty much will have to mean for us as a community is that we can't trust Microsoft. We can't trust Microsoft. We can't trust big tech. We can't trust big pharma. We can't trust any of these companies, guys. First of all, we have one person here going to war with a mega conglomerate. One person showing first of all, guys, let me paint the picture of how huge a 0 day exploit is. People may be able to find exploits some weeks after, months after certain parts of Microsoft have been patched, certain systems. Be able to find an exploit the day after a patch cycle is actually very huge. And then, and it's actually on one case very rare. Chaotic Eclipse is doing right now, guys, is history in the making. And if you are into tech news whatsoever and you love watching like just big companies get the middle finger, huge fuck you, this person is practically manhandling Microsoft by the balls, shoving it up their ass, and I love it. Now, personally, this could make Microsoft want to go to war with their bug bounty hunters. But let's be real here. They don't want the smoke. We all know this. If Microsoft's team was capable of finding these programs wouldn't exist. These people wouldn't be able to actually, because there's a lot of these people who make a living. Believe it or not, there's a lot of people who make a living doing this. Anyway, go ahead, Don. What does this mean for the wider community?
I pretty much nailed it. I mean, for the wider community, if you are sitting on a bug, you trust Microsoft. Do you disclose it to them
That's what I'm
and
saying,
get
man.
told to fuck off, and then they patch it anyway, and then they don't pay you? Or do you disclose it publicly and Microsoft coming after you legally,
Yep,
or risk your GitHub account getting taken down? Or do
exactly
you
what I'm
go
saying.
sell it on the dark web and not have to deal with any of these problems and potentially more money than you were going to make sending it to Microsoft in the first place? Why doesn't Microsoft realize that they're not as powerful in this situation as they're acting like?
This actually reminds me of a situation to where it's better to hire the individual than it is to try to get them
Yeah.
arrested.